If you're working in the SAP world, you know these projects are, well, they're massive. But have you ever wondered how they actually go from just an idea to a live system that a huge global company depends on every single day? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down that entire journey step by step. This is the big question, right? It doesn't matter if you're a fresher just starting out, a seasoned developer, or a functional consultant. At some point, you've probably wondered, what's the big picture here? So we're going to lay out a super clear step-by-step roadmap. And trust me, this isn't just theory. This is the stuff that will make sense of it all and be incredibly useful for your next interview and for your career. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to follow the project's natural story. First up, we'll dive into the super important planning and blueprinting phase. This is where the whole vision is set. Then we'll see how that plan gets turned into a real thing when we get to building the system. After that, it's all about making sure it actually works with testing for success, before we finally hit the finish line with Go Live and beyond. And here it is, the entire journey, all in one glance. You can see we've got 6 distinct phases, kicking off with preparation and taking us all the way to go live and support. I want you to think of this as our master map for the next few minutes. Okay, let's zoom in on where it all begins. You know, every single successful project starts with a rock-solid foundation. And in the world of SAP, that foundation is built right here, in this first major stage, planning and blueprinting. Getting this part right is absolutely critical. I'm not exaggerating when I say it can literally make or break the entire project before a single line of code is ever written. So this stage really has 2 key parts. First, you've got project preparation. That's where you figure out the what, when, who, and how much, the scope, the timeline, the team. Then you move into the business blueprint. Now, it's so important to realize that at this point, nobody's writing code. This is all about meticulous planning. It's about thinking everything through to prevent super costly mistakes and rework later on. The business blueprint, this thing is the absolute master plan for the whole project. It's the Bible. This is where functional consultants sit down with the business users and document everything the new system has to do. Every single report, every customization, every little process. This document becomes the one single source of truth for the entire development team. A weak blueprint? That leads to a chaotic build. It's that simple. Okay, so the blueprint is signed, sealed, and delivered. Now the project totally shifts gears. All the planning is done and it's finally time to, build. This brings us to the realization phase, where all those architectural plans start becoming a functioning reality. The realization phase is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. We are making the blueprint real. This is where the rubber meets the road. The keyboards really start clicking. All of those theoretical plans and pages of documents are now being translated into a system you can actually log into, all through configuration and custom development. Now, during this build phase, you've got 2 key roles working in lockstep. The functional consultant is busy configuring the standard SAP system, tweaking all the settings to match the blueprint. But at the same time, the ABAP developer steps in to write custom code for anything that standard SAP just can't do out of the box. You absolutely need both to deliver the complete solution. And this is where the developers really shine, building all those custom pieces that make the system perfect for the business. They're creating everything from specialized reports the CEO needs, to system enhancements that automate a tedious task, and even the critical interfaces that let SAP talk to all the other software the company uses. So, the system is built. It's based on the blueprint, but does it actually work? Like really work? Well, that's what this next phase is all about. And let me tell you, testing isn't just a quick check. It's a series of really tough trials to make sure the system is robust and ready for the real world. This is where you find problems before they impact real money. Testing happens in layers, and each one builds on the last. It all starts with unit testing. That's where a developer tests their own piece of code in isolation. Then you have integration testing, which checks if all those different components play nicely together. And finally, you get to the most critical step of all, user acceptance testing. UAT. This is the moment of truth. This is when the actual business users, the people from finance, from sales, the ones who will live in this system every day, get their hands on it. They run through their real-world processes to answer one simple, crucial question. Does this system actually do what we asked for in the blueprint? Their sign-off is the ultimate green light. Without it, you don't move forward. So we have a fully built system. It's been tested from top to bottom. The finish line is so close you can almost taste it. The energy is at its absolute peak as we enter the final critical stage of the project, go live and beyond. This part, the final preparation, it's exactly like the countdown for a rocket launch. You can't just flip a switch and hope for the best. The team is going a mile a minute, training all the end users, locking down that super detailed cutover plan, migrating all the data from the old system, and running those last-minute performance and security checks. And then it happens. The big day. Go live. This is the single most important milestone of the entire project. The new SAP system gets moved to the production environment, the old systems are finally switched off, and the business officially begins running on its brand new digital core. But wait, the journey isn't over just because you launched. That period right after go live is so critical. We call it post-go live support, or sometimes hypercare. This is where the project team stays on high alert, ready to jump on any urgent issues, fix unexpected bugs, and just make sure the business can operate smoothly on the new system. So, why did we just go through all of this? Why is it so important? Because, look, this isn't just some academic knowledge you memorize. Understanding this entire life cycle is a core expectation in SAP interviews. It proves you get the big picture, whether your job is to manage the whole project or just write one tiny piece of code. And that brings us to our final thought. Now that you've seen the whole map, right, from that very first planning meeting to the final support ticket, the real question is, where do you see yourself? In this massive, complex, and honestly pretty exciting journey, what will your role be?